We're live from Los Angeles. I'm Joy Taylor here with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp. Good morning, guys.
Good morning, Joy.
Hi, Joy. How are you?
Hey, Skip, how you doing this morning?
I'm just great.
You okay?
Yep. Let's do it.
It's good. Hey, had a great weekend.
Great weekend?
Yeah,
Wait, it's
man.
Wednesday.
They're still riding off the weekend?
Sunday. Whatever happened Sunday night,
Oh.
I'm still high.
I think you're still high from what you did Monday on this show.
Yeah. All right, let's get it started. Let's start with the big news at Wake Forest. They issued a statement yesterday saying they've concluded football team announcer Tommy Elrod provided or attempted to provide confidential game notes to opponents starting in 2014. Elrod was a former player and assistant coach at Wake Forest. An investigation started last month when an equipment manager found documents that showed specific plays at the University of Louisville Stadium. Wake Forest head coach Dave Clawson said it's incomprehensible that a former Wake Forest student athlete, graduate assistant, full-time football coach, and current radio analyst for the school would betray his alma mater. I'm extremely disappointed that our confidential and proprietary game preparations were compromised. We allowed Elrod to have full access to our players, team functions, film room, and practices. He violated our trust, which negatively impacted our entire program. I'm glad we have taken steps to ensure it will not happen in the future. Skip, what's your reaction?
Joy, Shannon Sharp. Yep. I have been watching and covering college football for a long, long time. I've seen cheating scandals. I've seen academic fraud scandals. I've seen spying scandals. I've seen the Penn State scandal, and I've never seen anything like this scandal. What they're now calling Wakey leaks could go down in sports infamy with Spygate. And I think it will go down because I think we're only at the tip of the iceberg at this point. Here's one guy who went Benedict Arnold on the school he played and coached for. Are you kidding me? This is a first. We have one disgruntled, I'm assuming, former coach at Wake Forest turned team radio broadcaster with access to all the team practices and all their information, who sought revenge on the new coaching regime that did not retain him as an assistant coach. That's what it looks like at this moment.
Absolutely.
Don't know that for sure, but that's what it smells like at this moment. One Tommy Elrod has been betraying his school, Wake Forest, for, according to the statement from Wake Forest, for the last 3 years. But the only evidence we have of direct betrayal came after the November 12th game at Louisville, during which the Wake Forest coaches found play sheets, Wake Forest play sheets that were left over from the Louisville coaches in the press box. That game wound up Louisville 44-12 over Wake Forest. And Wake Forest has been a pretty good team. They started out 4-0 this year, and then they lost 6 out of 8, but still fell into a bowl game. They're playing Temple in the Military Bowl coming up in Washington, D.C. So a pretty good team that had a chance to be maybe a very good team unless they got consistently betrayed by one Tommy Elrod. Now, Bobby Petrino, on record right after that November 12th game, I have no knowledge of this. I'm not sure about that. Because one Lonnie Galloway, Petrino's co-offensive coordinator, was an assistant on the Wake Forest staff 2011 and 2012, and he was the co-passing game coordinator with one Tommy Elrod, Benedict Arnold, also known as Benedict Arnold now. So it would have been pretty easy for one Tommy Elrod to just pick up the phone game week before the Louisville game and call one Lonnie Galloway, former friend and associate of his, and say, hey, have I got something for you? So now I raise the question, Mr. Sharp. How responsible should Louisville be held in this cheating scandal if Louisville actively participated? I don't know anything about this, but is it possible it will be found that Louisville or other schools actually paid Tommy Elrod for this intel? Don't know about that, but is it possible Tommy Elrod, because he lost his regular gig, wasn't making enough money as just the once-a-week radio commentator for Wake Forest to pay the bills? I don't know about that. Or was it just straight betrayal, just revenge? we know that Bobby Petrino lost his job at Arkansas because of a personal scandal he was involved in. We know he left the Atlanta Falcons under dubious circumstances after just 13 games. He just up and said, you know what? I'm gone.
Wow.
See you guys later. I'm going to Arkansas, right?
Yep.
So Petrino's reputation is not the best to begin with. So I would like to know more about this. But my conclusion, if in fact Louisville was complicit in accepting this information, I think they cheated. I think that Bobby Petrino, I'm not going to call for his job just yet. I need to know more. But he at least should be suspended. And I'm not talking for a couple of early non-conference games. Let's just say because Lamar Jackson, the reigning Heisman winner, is going to be back next year. And I assume they're going to have I don't know how good their team will be, but top 5, top 10 team, probably. Yep. I think that Bobby Petrino should at the very least be suspended for the first 2 conference games, the first 2 ACC games next year. And I think the ACC should drop that hammer pretty quickly. And now we've run into how many other schools were complicit over the last 3 years, how many others accepted information from one Tommy Elrod, because Louisville was just the one school that was dumb enough to leave the intel laying around where the Wake Forest coaches could discover it and say, wait a second, these are new plays that we just practiced this week for this game, and they had sheets drawing up the play. Seriously? So I want to know more, but I'm going to call for at least a suspension at this point of one Bobby Petrino.
Skip, if this is true, if Bobby Petrino, through this investigation, and it reveals that he had intimate firsthand knowledge that this was going on, he should be fired. Not suspended, fired. In a spying investigation, when they catch the spy, they also punish the country in which was receiving this information.
No, I got it.
So you must punish the schools that receive this information if through your investigation you can find this out. Skip, I'm from rural South Georgia. I was raised on a farm. I was in 4-H. I took 2 agriculture classes. I went to the county fair and the state fair, and I've never heard no bleep like this before. This is beyond belief. If someone had just told me this in a passing conversation, did you hear what the guy at Wake Forest did? He was passing along plays to the opposing teams. I wouldn't have believed it. There's no way, Skip, you would believe that someone from an institution that has firsthand knowledge of the plays that's going to be run, plays that's going to be called on a given Saturday or Thursday in colleges, whatever they play, would pass that information along to a team that they're going to play beforehand. I still don't believe it. Skip, I hear it and I read it and I still don't believe it. And people say, well, they don't know what they're going to call. Absolutely they do. Skip, that's why we study tape. You want to know tendencies. When they have those big old sheets, think about it. Every time you see a coach call a play, what does he do? He covers his mouth because guess what we got, Skip? We got people that will get the close up and try to read his lips.
Sure they do.
And then you try to read what he called to what they're running. They map out all college coaches, all professional coaches. They map out the first 15, the first 12, or first 20 plays they're going to run. Well, I can assure you they're not starting with play number 19. The first play on the sheet is the play they're going to run. You might call it something else, but all offenses, be it college or pro, they run the same thing. They run the same combination. They just call it different things. So if I know what you're going to run in a certain situation, okay, first 15, third and short, third and long, red zone, backed up, 2-point plays, no huddle. Skip, if I know this, you've given me a decided advantage. I tell the story all the time. In 1996, we were playing the San Diego Chargers, and I won't get too technical with it. When San Diego was in the over front, which was 4 down linemen, when we motioned TD, they would Junior Seau, Terrell Davis, Junior Seau, rest his soul, the middle linebacker, would always yell Vegas Reno. Well, Vegas Reno for them was a cover 2 check. So guess what, Skip? We got a cover 2 beater now. So every time we motion, they check the Vegas Reno. One Shannon Sharp, get down the hole as fast as you can, because John's going to take 5 steps and he's throwing you the football.
Okay, but you're not cheating.
No.
You're deciphering, you're studying their tendencies.
So just imagine if we didn't have to worry about the coverage. We didn't have to worry about hearing his call. We just automatically knew when we motioned, this is what they're going to do.
Okay.
Or the defense so he was helping the offensive from a defensive perspective. So now he's telling them, well, when they get in this formation, this is what they're going to run. Skip, that's a decided advantage when you consider the games are decided by a few points here or there. If I know what you're going to run, it gives me a decided advantage. And here's the thing. I believe he benefited monetarily. Skip, there's nothing free but salvation. And now televangelists find a way to charge you for that. So he made some money off of this.
You think so? I don't know that for a fact.
But if he's been doing this for the last, they say 3 years, since 2014, he had a personal relationship with the guy at Louisville now.
He did.
The other guys, he had no relationship. It's hard for me to believe that if he's been doing this for 3 years, he had a relationship with everybody that he possibly passed information along to. So if this is true, I don't know how he ever works in college, in sports.
Oh, well, that's a fact. Yeah.
And if Bobby Petrino or anybody had firsthand knowledge of this, they should lose their job.
I'm always big on the head coach should know all and see all. We went through this with the Patino scandal at Louisville in basketball. Should he have known what was going on in the dorm? He said, I had no knowledge. You just have to know.
Can I ask you a question, Skip?
Yes.
How is it they have no knowledge of what's going on in the dorm? They have no knowledge of what's going on outside, but they know who showed up for that 10:30 science class on a Tuesday.
Yep, they do.
It's funny how they know that. They know what they want to know, and they don't what they don't care to.
Okay. So here's the deeper question. And I may come off as holier than thou when I take my stand on this, but if over the last 3 years I had been working on another staff in the ACC and this rat had called me and offered maybe for pay, but maybe just for betrayal, I'm going to give you our game plan this week. And again, it's easy for me to say sitting here because I was not under the pressure to hold my job as a college football coach, obviously, and the pressure is extraordinary and extreme. We know all that. And we heap coal on the fire on this show week after week. So-and-so should be fired. But if somebody called and offered and it became quickly clear to me this was straight betrayal by a guy who was working as the radio commentator for that school, I would feel a strong obligation to my sport and to my conference to turn him in, to call either the conference office or maybe even to call the former coach at Wake Forest, Jim Grobe, or somebody, the school president, athletic director, and alert them to the fact that they do have a Benedict Arnold. And if he did this repeatedly to ACC schools down their schedule over a 3-year period, somebody should have turned him in. If this became a weekly occurrence that he's calling up whoever he can get a hold of at the next opponent in the but probably conference games.
Wake have a hard enough time winning games. It's basically an academic institution known for mainly basketball. Tim Duncan they've had some great players come out.
By the way, for the record, under the new coach Dave Clawson, the previous 2 years they went 3-9 and 3-9. They probably weren't very good anyway, but did this contribute to their downfall of 9 losses? Probably it did.
It's already hard for them to win games. And now you're giving someone our game plan, which is going to make it even tougher to win. Skip, I still don't believe that this guy did this. I would have, I don't know, Skip, because we look at a situation. It's not the fact that he did it. It's the betrayal of trust that he gathered along the way while doing this. Because you think, I'm surprised, first of all, I've never heard of a color analyst having this kind of access. I've never heard it, Skip.
I have.
Really?
On the college level, they become part of the family, part of the traveling party. And because he not only coached there, he played there. And he was a fair-haired son of the university, like he was highly respected and regarded. There's shocking, everybody's been asked about him. I can't believe he did this. This is like the serial killer down the street. Everybody on the block says, he was such a nice guy, Well, this guy was clearly, in everybody's eyes, a really good guy who loved his school, and he loved his job, obviously, to a fault, to the point that he thought the new coach coming in from outside the family who dared not to retain him as an assistant coach, I'm going to make him pay. I'm going to cost him his job. If it takes me years to cost him his job, I'm going to keep leaking the intel until he is fired.
Right.
And I'm going to try to contribute to that. And again, does it directly contribute to a loss? I can't make that case.
No.
But it certainly doesn't.
It wasn't helping them win games.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It can't help the cause. It can only hurt the cause.
But this is why he flew up under the radar or dodged suspicion. Because when people go outside, you have to be normal to blend in. If he did something that was erratic, that would have spooked suspicion.
Yep.
It always baffled me, oh, he was the guy next door, you'd have never thought. That's how he gets away with it. He has to be the guy next door. He can't be eccentric. He can't be kooky. He can't rouse suspicion, because if you rouse suspicion, now I got to start looking at you a little closer. I'm going to start watching.
Yep.
Maybe I'll leave something around and see if it's there when I get back. He went about his normal business. Hey, guys, how you doing? Joy, good. That's a nice dress you have on.
But he was an insider from the start.
Yes!
You know, he was a lover of Wake Forest. I'm sure if you put him on a lie detector today, he would live and die for his school. And he thought this new coach coming from the outside in was wrong for our school. I'm doing this for our benefit because I deserve to be a coach because I love my school more than the new staff. I'm sure the new staff came in with outsiders, assistants from other programs.
But that's why, but see, that's why it hurts so much. Betrayal, that's why it hurts, because of the trust, the equity in which he's built up in this institution. That's why they're so hurt by it, because they can't believe here's the guy that played here, coached here, is a color analyst here. He's been here for, say, 20 years, Skip. So that's why it hurts so bad, because he's built up so much equity into this institution. And for this to take place, they can't come to grips with it. Why? We've been so good to you. Not only did you play here, we allowed you to come back and be a graduate assistant here. And even after you weren't retained on the coaching staff, we gave you a job as a color analyst. So for 3 different times, they've been more than gracious to him. And for him to do what he did after all the trust, that's what hurts. See, that's, you know, and I've never been married, but I hear that's why it hurts so bad. Because they build up such equity in each other. We've been together for so long. And here I think everything is great. I believe in you. And even when people, maybe someone said something, but they couldn't believe it, because this is so far defies belief. They say the only difference between truth and fiction is that fiction must make sense. This makes no sense.
I mean, it makes sense to me. I get it. I get why he would do it. But you want to talk about having some screws loose? This guy's got a bunch of screws loose.
But here's the thing, though, Skip. How do you be? He was a player. He was a coach. He didn't have his axe to grind, monetary. Skip, there's no such thing as free. There's no such thing as nothing. There's always quid pro quo.
Probably.
That's always the case. It wasn't like he stood to gain something, be it monetarily, or he gets this guy fired, the next guy comes in and hires him. But there's no such thing, no, there's no such thing as just.
Got it.
There's
so
always
just
a reason.
To frame this, I brought up Spygate, and just to refresh our viewers' memories, that was about Bill Belichick being caught red-handed, breaking the rule that will not allow you to tape the defensive signals that are being signaled in from the sidelines so that you can go in at halftime and try to decipher them on the fly.
The memo, Roger Goodell sent the memo opening week of 2008. No, was it? 2008. No, which year they won the Super Bowl?
2007.
He sent the memo. Do not, he said, if you are taping signals from the sideline, you can do it from an elevated perch. So if you want to go 20 feet up, 30 feet up, have at it. What they were doing was they were taping the hand signals. Then even if they didn't do it at the game, during the game, they would come back later. They would look, because you got one group of guys taping the hand signals. You got another group that's actually taping the actual game and the defense. So what they're doing, they're deciphering the hand signals to the defense being called at the time.
All right, so the point is you're cheating to win. This is the first case I've ever heard of where you were cheating to undermine your own program.
Point shaving.
Yeah, it's effectively. Yeah, point shaving was just because
you're not trying to win.
You're not trying to win, but you're just trying to make money because you're probably in debt to somebody, right? So trying to cancel a debt.
He wasn't trying to win.
Right.
So it maybe not, because it wasn't like he had a direct impact. I mean, as point shaving has to be, someone has to be involved in the actual game.
Yeah.
But he was not trying to help Wake Forest win. He was doing everything he possibly could to help them lose. So I don't care what anybody tells you, Skip. You know this. If I know what you're going to do, if there's a 50, 60% chance, because the games in the NFL are even closer than those in college. So a field goal here or a point there can determine the ball game. So don't tell me, oh, the hand signals didn't mean it, because it helps you. Because guess what? I'm playing the Jets. I'm playing Buffalo. I'm playing Miami. I'm playing this team twice a year for the next, as long as I'm here. All these teams, you play everybody. Every 3 years, you play that team again. And for a good chunk of these teams, they'll keep the same coaches. And even if they go somewhere else, guess what? Already got a profile on you. So it helps immensely. And don't let anybody ever tell you that it didn't. Because if it didn't help, the one thing I know about coaches, and having played this game and having been around it, they will not do anything that they don't think helps them win. If they think it gives them a chance of winning, they're doing it.
What about the kids? Forget the fact that it's a school and it's a sport, and this is hurting amateur athletes, who most of who will never have the opportunity to play at a professional level.
NCAA don't really. NCAA is about making money.
I'm not talking about the NCAA. I'm talking about all the adults in this situation failing kids. That's the worst part of this to me. That's the most evil part of it to me, is that these kids aren't going to get an opportunity. I still don't believe it.
I still don't believe it.
Coming up, does Conor McGregor really want to fight Floyd Mayweather, or is he just messing with everyone? Skip and Shannon debate that next.
No mercy.